the agenda, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
So in terms of the job of secretary, a lot of the things that are traditionally handled by these secretarial officer are actually handled by Shanta at this point, right? With the actual
Yes.
like clerical note taking and all that stuff.
She makes sure, her job is very important. She makes sure that we are in compliance. She also makes sure that all the meetings are recorded and those minutes are available for the public. So yes. I
And
guess
it's just parenthetically, it's really good of the town to provide a staff person to us. It's pretty important.
it's awesome because we all are on the same page, you know, and you know, with Chantal, we have another advocate for culture. So we're all working for the same goal. And so I think it's,
And the new appointments for new members, when does that happen in April? Or June or
I think
Members
for us, it's rolling.
it is?
members
So we
are on a
can-
rolling basis.
We can advertise for a couple of new members anytime.
Absolutely. I mean, the stronger, the more diverse the council, the stronger it becomes, for sure. So absolutely. Maria Partida contacted me, and I think she'd be a fabulous person to have on the council.
Definitely.
So she is going forward and putting her application into the select board. So hopefully she'll be joining the council very soon.
That's an important thing to know. Not something that I knew, that we can add people on a rolling basis. You know, maybe we want to get the word out and, you know, try and get a few new members on board.
Well, this is the time, usually after the grant cycle, when they're, you know, everybody kind of knows who we are and we make a big splash. That's the time there's a lot of awareness, and that's a really good time. Also, that things are slowing down on the island for most people, so they can get involved, and they want to get involved in something over the winter to make a difference and meet people and create change. So this is a great time to recruit members. Absolutely.
And, you know, one effective way, maybe just to get the word out through Chantal, maybe is to ask the select board to mention it at a meeting that they're taking applications for the council. That word will get out pretty quick.
Libby just did something in her newsletter about not only the cultural council, but there's massive vacancies on many of the other councils and boards that need to be filled. So
Right.
there was an all call, but a specific call just for culture is a great idea. Absolutely.
Yeah, that I'm a tragically unhip government geek, so I actually read Libby's newsletter, but my sense is it's probably not that widely read.
You'd be
Agree.
surprised the open
So-
rate
so
on
we
that newsletter. It's surprising how many people actually read it.
Oh, good.
For me, I think it's
I
it's
always
lengthy.
learn something new.
Mhm.
I always learn something new, and I got $75 because I recycled my refrigerator. You know, I would have never known. I would have missed that. So you know, I always learn something new from that. So but I will, you know, and that's everyone. If everyone, you know, can get the word out about recruitment, that would be fantastic. You know, like I said, the more people that help, the more work gets done, and the more things change. So that would be fantastic.
Do the positions have to be by nomination, or can someone volunteer and say, I would like to be treasurer or whatever?
Yeah, someone can nominate you, you can nominate, or you can nominate yourself. Absolutely.
Okay. So maybe should we do that at an upcoming meeting? Have nominations for those positions? Or did you want to do it?
I think that
today?
would be a good idea. My position, definitely, it should be filled sooner rather than later. But if members want more information so they can make a more, informed choice, I'd be more than happy to provide that within 24 hours. I mean, you tell me where you want to go. I know this is I've just learned this information. I was going to kind of step back and then I was like, oh no, I have to step off. So
Well, maybe there's a kind of rational way to do this, because Emma, being the vice chair currently, can certainly serve to be the head of the organization, and then maybe we have set a date certain to elect officers, like at the next meeting, and formalize Emma's election as chair, and then add the other three in, because she can certainly run the council in her position as vice chair for now.
Absolutely. She's run meetings, and like I said, I have the utmost confidence in her.
So I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is super wonky, so I realize I'm going to cut out. But but even if we were to bring, even if by our next meeting we have somebody new on, we don't want to make them an officer, probably, if they're new the first year, right? Correct. So I mean, I just think we all need to really think about, there's not that many of us, and we've got 3 positions to fill. So we need to think about how we're going to do, because we're only missing Sarah at this point, correct? So anyway, I'm just putting that. So yeah, we need to maybe email within each other, before that meeting. So we all have a thought on how we want to do that.
Do we have any
Do
we have any kind of open meeting law about conducting negotiations via email outside of meetings? We got to be careful about that, right?
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk
Oh.
about really anything except for the
Okay.
date of the next meeting.
Well, then never mind.
But I think, yeah, if you can, Jordana, to just send out like what would each position do, and if Shanta is comfortable doing minutes and agendas, then we really just need a treasurer, a chair, and a co-chair or a vice chair. I was just looking at the link that Shanta sent from Mass Cultural, and that had some information on the chair and what they do. And then, yeah, the treasurer is mostly having to do with knowing what our funding is, right? And there's a financial document we have to do annually for Mass Cultural.
Exactly. And that piece is still coming from the state. So I talked to Timothea today about that. So that should all be ready.
Do we still have to have a secretary though?
Yeah, if I could interject, you have to have a
Yeah.
chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. Those are the only 3 positions that you most certainly have to be a functioning council. You can nominate or elect, Jordana to be a member of the council even after her term is done. She just can't have any voting responsibilities, solely as an advisor. Just to answer those little questions as I'm skimming the document really quickly.
Is that from Mass Cultural or from the town of Nantucket?
All of this is from Mass Cultural Council. The town doesn't
Okay.
determine how you guys function.
Okay, that's good to know.
So it just to get to the technical root of this. So Jordy, are you officially not a member of the council at this point?
Well, according to the LCC, I have to step down. That is what I have to do.
And that you have to do that as of now?
I should have done it in June. So, yes. We just haven't met since you know, since this has happened. And I, again, so I was, like I said, I was just going to step back. But now I understand I have to step off. So, for a year, for 1 year, which is a good thing. You know, it's a good thing for change and leadership. And so I understand that. And I think it's a good thing.
And currently Emma serves as vice chair and also another position as well. Is that right?
I mean, in this
What was
past
the
winter,
question?
I was like doing the agendas and getting the Zoom link. So but then Janet was taking the notes, so we were kind of sharing a lot of the responsibility.
Did we
I
have an
think
election?
technically I'm the treasurer.
Okay. Because I think there are positions that you can hold two of them, one person can hold two, but they're probably specified in the enabling legislation. But what the last time officers were elected, who were in what position?
I don't really remember
I
being
was elected.
formally elected.
The last thing that I was elected the chair. Emma was elected the co-chair, treasurer, and secretary. I think it was all three because we didn't have anybody else, and that was not really. It didn't really work. So I think being a co-chair and a treasurer is okay, or a co-chair and a secretary is okay, but again, I think if more people, if each person on the council that has been with the council takes a bigger responsibility, I think this council will benefit from it and will be stronger, and Emma will have the support she needs to really. All of our discussions this year have been really, there's just so much synergy together as a team to move the council forward and to create more wonderful things in the community. And I think if everyone gets a little, helps out a little bit more, gets a little bit more involved, I think that's eminent, that will happen. So I rather have, and again, I have no say, but I'd rather have everyone have a little bit of a position as opposed to one person having two or three things. That's what I happen to kind of me, and it burns you out sometimes. So I think from my perspective, if there was one secretary, and again, we don't need a secretary because we have Chantal, which is amazing. So a treasurer, like Chantal had mentioned, a treasurer, a secretary, and a chair are the important things. But a co-chair to me was very important. I relied on Emma a lot, and that was wonderful. So I think that's really important to have a co-chair, to have someone there to bounce things off of as well.
So just in terms of moving through the agenda here, the decision that we're going to make right now is, are we going to elect officers now, which it sounds like it probably wouldn't be a good idea because we all want to kind of check it out. And if we don't do that today, can we schedule elections for the next meeting and have Emma lead the group in her position as vice chair until then we can elect the whole slate at the next meeting? Does that make sense?
I think that's smart.
All right, well, I'm going to make a motion to that effect.
I'll second
Great.
that.
Second.
Perfect. All right, great. Emma, do you want to take the meeting from here?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm just looking for the agenda. So do we want to, because it's almost 4:40. Do we want to postpone the review of the applications? I don't
I
think
mean,
I can
that-
make a motion, but do you guys want to discuss that?
I mean, that usually takes us at least an hour and a half, and I feel like, I don't have another hour and a
Yeah, I
half
don't-
today.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I haven't seen them yet, but what's our deadline for getting that work done?
Yeah, that was my question too.
January 9th.
Okay, so we've got a little time.
okay. I think it'd be great then if we could elect a slate and then review with our new slate, then review the,
Yeah, and that's enough of an agenda for one meeting right there.
So
Agreed.
do you guys want to look at a calendar and see what timing might work for another meeting and, to budget like an hour and a half to 2 hours to do elections and review the applications?
is something the 5th, 6th, or 7th of December a possibility for anyone? Just, I think like with Thanksgiving and stroll upon us.
Yeah, and Justin, I'm assuming getting a show up between now and then is keeping you fairly busy.
Yeah, and I assume the same.
Yeah.
Does
But those
4
dates
o'clock
work for
work
me.
well?
I'm just throwing those out there because they work for me. I mean, pretty much anytime after the 5th it feels better to me for a little bit.
I'll say that we open Charlie Brown on the 8th, so I'm gonna be doing summer rehearsals.
Oh,
Probably
okay.
if we did it in the morning, it would be better than afternoon. I could probably pull that off.
What about Tuesday or
I actually would
Wednesday?
prefer, I mean, like the
ahead,
6th
Justin.
of December, possibly, would that work? I mean, is morning an option for anyone?
I work 11 to 3, so I would just have to do it either earlier or later in the
Could we
afternoon.
do like 9 to 10:30 and bang it out in the morning?
Justin,
I know.
Are you in the theater business? You're
We
talking
work in
about
the
having a
arts,
meeting at
Justin.
9 o'clock in the morning?
Right, we
Yeah.
work in the arts. We don't do early.
Whatever.
Okay. I take that back. I take it.
Last time we did this, it took quite a while. I think it would be better to do it later in the day because I can't imagine people can just sit in the morning for hours going over this together.
Can we do 4 o'clock on Tuesday the 6th?
That works for me.
How's that for Tony?
Complicated for Tony, right?
Yeah, I probably couldn't, but if you have a quorum, it's fine.
Did you want to do something after the opening of Charlie Brown?
Well, I tell you, like something like Monday. So Monday is the 5th, right? I could get away with that, and then I have 2 days of tech, which would be fine.
At 4, Tony?
Yeah, that could work.
If we do it Tuesday, we can make Tony all the officers.
Yeah.
No, I see that happening.
How does Monday work for you, Justin?
That's great with me.
Anyone else have, or does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Monday the 5th at 4.
Okay.
Shanta, are you available then? Do we need to vote that into happening? No, okay.
I think we're all good with it.
Okay, so we'll do election of officers and we'll review the panel book. Has everyone been able to find and look at the panel book?
I did, but I'll tell you, I only have 17. You guys have said 27. a
Yeah, I
couple
only
times.
see 17 as well.
Okay.
Justin, Ava, were you able to look at it or just know how to get it?
Is it what you put in the chat, Emma? The toolkit or something else?
No, it's the applications.
Yeah, can I get a link to that?
So
I have it thanks to Tony.
I
My
think-
IT guy.
I believe that Janet had set us all up on their the Mass Cultural Council has a new website. And I
Okay.
think she made logins for all of us, but I can
Would you-
send I can
Around.
send the link, and if you don't have it, you can do like forgot my password or something. But
Perfect.
basically we all have our own unique login, and you can go on there and find the panel book. And I believe once you've like created a login, they will send you an email because they know you're a member. I think a while back I got an email saying like the panel book's are ready.
It gets a little funky if you have a grantee account and an LCC account. So I actually
Yeah.
have two, because I have my NCMC one and then I also have the Cultural Council one.
Yeah,
So you might need to do that if you submitted an application.
I know. I wasn't really sure if they were emailing me as a grant, like
Mm.
someone who had applied or someone that was on the council. Okay, so we just need to go back to our party planning.
We just managed to schedule our meeting for when we were gonna do the.
Yeah, so I missed the last few meetings in May. So I don't know if we had made a decision on the date yet. Or I believe we talked about the second week in December, but did we pick a specific date?
I picked a day and put it on the calendar for the 13th of December. But then we didn't have a meeting to talk about that. So that's just been put on the Nantucket Cultural District calendar, and that's it. So it's not set in stone. You can do whatever you want with it. I just didn't want anybody else to take that date. So, but that's it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that definitely doesn't give us much time. I don't really remember where we were at. I think we have a guest list, and I think we approved a invitation. In terms of the program itself, I saw in the last minute that you guys had talked about a video. And I remember before that we had talked about doing like a PowerPoint. So can anyone fill in where we are with like what the presentation we want it to look like?
I don't remember. I think the last I remember is we're gonna do some kind of PowerPoint, something with images and stories, something like that. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I know that's what we were talking about in kind of early spring.
I think keeping it simple is a good idea.
I mean, I know that we don't have a lot of photographs. You know, I don't think we got video of any of the programs. So what are people's thoughts? Do we need to kind of start from scratch on that?
We can, if we use I'm sorry, Justin, if we use the model of the Community Foundation, so when we go and do their thing annually, they just have everybody, they call your name, your organization name, and you go and you just talk for 2 minutes about your program and sit down. And so it kind of moves the actual work of developing the presentation onto the recipients. Can't speak today. So maybe that's a better model, because I just don't know that we're gonna be able to put something together.
That's a great idea.
I agree.
Yeah, it seemed like that was
that-
kind of holding us back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll have the photographer, I mean, we'll get some photos from this event, so we'll have something for next time if we want to go bigger, and next time if we want to put, boards together, that kind of thing, we can think about that. But I think if we keep it simple, we can maybe accomplish it. I think if we get complicated, we're not gonna, it's not gonna happen.
It sounds
Yeah.
like Tony and Justin and I will just be coming off having put on a big production, so.
Yeah, that's actually between my shows too, because I'm just looking at that
We
runs.
can also adjust that day because if we're, I mean, the next time we can meet is on the 5th and we're not gonna have time to talk about that.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh.
I need to keep pushing it back and.
Right,
keep-
because I mean, they're not gonna even all know. What, Emma, in terms of that date, do you mean pushing it, pushing it like into January? Or do you
I
mean?
don't know.
Okay. I just FYI, I won't be here for a lot of the first part of the year, so.
Same,
I mean, I'm really not back until like May. I mean, I'll be on and off, but I'll be gone a lot, so not that it all revolves around me. I'm just saying, I mean, we are a smaller council right now, so I'm just
I
throwing
mean,
that out there.
we could consider pushing it to the spring again, because now that we have a new grant cycle, we're gonna be working with new recipients. We can kind of start from scratch in terms of who we're honoring. I do believe we were gonna do something for Janet, and I don't, Jordana, do you know when she's leaving?
She did sell her house, and I know she was leaving and moving to Maine to be with her grandchildren. But I'm sure that if you had a date in the spring, I'm sure she'd make herself available for that. But I think she's leaving at the end of this year.
Well, I think if we are able to give Janet, 5 or 6 months out, I would imagine, I would, hopefully she'll come back and visit us. And
I hope so.
so, yeah, maybe, I just am leaning more towards that also. If we want to have the recipients speak about the grants, doing it in December is going to kind of be not really accomplish what we've been talking about for the last year and a half, trying to accomplish
Yeah.
with this.
yep, agreed.
So, I mean, if it was, my vote would be to move it to like sometime at the beginning of May, the first couple of weeks of May. The weather's nice, things are nice. I mean, people are thinking about all of this, they've come out of, I don't know, that would be my 2 cents at this point. It's also selfish because I know I will definitely be here, but
Well, no, we want us to be here because this is something we've been working on for years now. So, it's important.
Well, plus that, the most wonderful time of the year and everything, there's a whole lot going on between Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that, so.
Yeah, it feels like the trouble is sometimes like in the winter, everyone's gone. And then when everyone's back, there's always a whole lot going on. So we can't,
They're
we
so
gotta-
busy.
we gotta squeeze it in like before summer.
yeah, late April, early May.
But I think maybe like
Michael,
said,
because I wasn't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like Michael said, to keep it simple, like if we eliminate a presentation that we have to create because we just don't, like, we're already doing enough for this council that like to add that on what seemed to be kind of holding us back from doing it. So if we keep it simple and we have the recipients just give a few words, then I think that'll be easier to pull off.
And I'm-
I wasn't at the last meeting either. I'm just curious, Michael, is White Heron, would that be a possible
Yeah,
place to host this still in May or?
Yeah, May
Okay.
was a good time for us to
Great.
do so.
Can I make a suggestion to make just the party planning easier for you guys, recognizing that you are, at the end of the day, a volunteer board? And I'm sure you don't want to dedicate too much of your time planning this. I'm doing a launch party in May for the cultural district, which are the grant recipients are all cultural district members anyway. Would you guys be interested in just joining forces? The party's already happening. We agree on a date. I'm happy to plan it. You tell me who's receiving the awards, who you want there, and I'll just take the stress off of all of you. And thank you, Michael. It's at White Heron, that's decided. And then we just kind of go from there to make life so much easier and just make sure that it, you know, it happens. You guys just tell me what you want and I'll do it.
I love that idea.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I second that.
Because
Yeah, I
we've
think-
spent
Awesome.
over a year trying to plan this event. And every time we get on the phone, we kind of reschedule what we're trying to do. And I feel like it would be wonderful to do it and put more energy behind it by joining forces with what Chantal's already doing.
And what better kind of marriage of events than.
Yeah. Thank you,
a
Chantal.
cultural district and us.
Is that, can you
That's
just say
awesome.
more about what that event is? Is it with like the redesignation?
Yeah, I was tying in with the redesignation, since it was really rough getting it going this year with all the hiccups. So we officially launched sort of a little quieter than we had intended in July. So
The
fortunately, we
website, you
have
mean?
the website and the kiosk and the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
shebang. So we have the funding already set aside for the party. Now it's just a matter of making it happen. We decided to just wait till next spring.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's awesome.
And
Perfect.
then we can plan on having it be for the recipients for this grant cycle.
Mhm.
Or past people as well. I mean, I think we had our invite list with past people as well, but because some of the projects might not be completed by then. So, yeah, that's great. I think, I guess, just if there's more information you need from us, Chantal, or what we can help with, let us know. But for now, we'll just focus on the next round of grants at our next meeting.
Great.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
On the agenda, it says discuss funding for new cycle. Is that just to know how much we're working with, Jordana?
Yes.
And do we know
Yeah,
that
so we're
yet?
still, I should have that tomorrow. So, Timothea was working on with that with Melinda today. And, so I should have all of that funding stuff worked out. So by your next meeting, you'll know exactly what you're working with.
Okay. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, I put that quote from the Cultural Council, Mass Cultural, that says that former members can be non-voting. So I don't know if you want to come to the next meeting, but we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
And Chantal, you're able to do the what's it called? Let the town know when our meeting will be. Would
Posted.
you guys like to get back to meeting in person?
I'd like to keep the Zoom option open because I'd like to be able to participate if I'm not physically here. That makes sense.
Okay. So do Zoom again for December 5th?
Yeah, I think it's actually easier to do the panel books via Zoom anyway, because you have me
Yeah, you have
personally,
your
I have on
computer.
another screen and I can watch it and look at it, and because I'm not going to print the 200 pages, that's for sure.
I made that mistake.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't hit print.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, do we have anything else? Any other discussions?
I just want to be real clear just before we're done here. We definitely need a treasurer and a secretary, even though we don't have, I mean, the secretary's job we'll figure out what that is, but it's, I mean, not necessarily taking minutes.
It
Right.
seems to me, I don't mean to interrupt you, Justin. What if
And
we
I-
call it the co-chair / secretary, just because there's not really any responsibilities? That way we have the official.
yeah.
position.
I was gonna suggest that because it just seems like that those are married together. That seems like a good.
Yeah.
So if
it's
we,
a great
if we look at that, we
concept.
need two more, I mean, provided, we need to elect 3 people, but provided Emma.
Yeah.
Is.
Also, I think we should be clear about the title of the vice chair,
Mhm.
because co-chair and vice chair mean two very different things.
Well,
Yeah,
the
so
Mass
secretary
Cultural-
/ vice chair.
the Mass Cultural Council calls it a co-chair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they have both co-chairs and vice chairs, just because I was
Oh,
just
okay.
with all of them 2 weeks ago. But different local cultural councils, they do different things. The one group that I was like, I need to take notes on you guys because they function so well. They actually have co-chairs and they split the responsibility of the chair as it suggests. So it's not all falling on one person like it was for well, I guess it wasn't because you fortunately had Emma, but going forward,
So would it be two co-chairs?
Mhm.
Okay, so I guess, yeah, it's either 2 co-chairs or a chair and a vice chair.
I mean, it doesn't really matter that much to me which it is, but we should just be clear about which it is when we do the
Did-
election.
Did that council have, like, did they have a secretary within the council that took minutes? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yes, they did, but they weren't under, they were kind of funky. They weren't under a municipality, so they didn't have, essentially me.
Oh.
Just, I will gladly continue to do the clerical work. And then as for the treasury portion of it, that really fell on the chair as well. But if it makes it easier for you guys, I'm happy to sit with whoever ends up being the treasurer and do that alongside you as well. Because while Jordana has to do one reporting, I also have to submit a report to, and we're essentially doing the same thing. So we just copy
Okay.
off of each other's
Great.
notes.
This is something the town has took on a few years back about making sure that organizations like us have professional staff, so that minutes are done correctly and postings are filed correctly and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good thing of the town to do, and clearly we've hit the jackpot here with Shanta doing everything she does. So
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? I don't think I can ask that.
I'm making the motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that emotion.
Anyone opposed? Yay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you, Jordana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordana.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
Jordana.
Emma.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone.